For senior, episode 109. It is April the 25th, almost May. Hey, we're moving on. It's April the 25th, and we have 77 people in the audience today. Welcome. We have a bunch of people over on our YouTube feed as well. As you know, the show is broadcast not only on our Zoom meeting, but it's broadcast over to YouTube. I want to thank everyone for coming. Again, as I say each week, it is your enthusiasm that keeps us going, and we've been working hard for some great videos today. It's going to be a great show. We have a really big show for you today, and I think you'll enjoy it. We of course have not just this show. We do also Tech for Senior Live, which is on Thursdays now, and the broadcasting of it is actually exceeding our Monday show. So it is extremely popular now, and it's doing very well. So if you haven't come over and watched us, it's not a Zoom meeting. It is indeed we broadcast it through StreamYard, and it goes out to YouTube and Facebook. We also have a podcast. So if you want to listen to the Thursday show, we podcast it as well. For those of you who are over on the YouTube side, we will be ending the show in about 50 minutes. And just before Ray's music segment, if you want to pop over here and listen and join us for the Q&A after that, that certainly would be happy to have you over here. The premiere service today that we have, which also is really doing well. We had over 90 people watch it last week. This week on the premiere service, which will be at 1:30 Dewey's going to talk about printers for hot weather. And indeed, we do have some hot weather coming. So we'll learn all about it. Dewey did that last year. We have Hewie, Hewie, IE. I got it wrong in the Hewie said you got it wrong in the newsletter. I apologize profusely. Anyway, he's going to do his Windows 10 tips and tricks part 2. He did part 1 last week, and I'm going to talk. I did this a year ago on the new Kindle Fire tablet with Office 365, and while it's a year old, I thought it was still pretty pertinent because it's a very popular video. It gets a lot of hits, a lot of people interested in the Office 365 feature on a Kindle. Hey, what's that all about? So learn all about that today on our premiere service. I'll put the link in the chat in just a moment. Well, let me introduce everyone, but before I introduce everyone, I want to tell you that I had a big excitement this week. I went, George will probably, George Bowen will understand this. We were just talking about this. I was down at my cable company store, Shaw, and walked in the store and saw a big sign up, 1.5 gigabit connection now available. So I said, I got to get that because Hewie's only got 1 gigabit. I got to be faster. So anyway, so I said to the fella, how much? And I said, doesn't really matter. It's priceless. I got to get faster than Hewie, right? So the fella says, let me look at your account. He said, gee, you got pretty much everything now. So he does the $10 a month. So I said, it sold. So I now have through cable 1.5 gigabit coming into the house. They provide a seat belt and a helmet for you as well. So when you're using it, you don't fall off the chair. So anyway, I now have 1.5 gigabit. Now, the reason that I'm mentioning this, not just to brag, but of course I'm doing that, but also is the fact that keep talking to your providers. The world is changing so fast, and the speeds are increasing so fast that you keep talking, because 5G is, a lot of time your options for 5G are there, and it's just going to get better and better and better. So keep asking. All right, now let me introduce everybody. You all know my favorite partner here. Even though I can't spell his name right after 3 years, I have Hewie Poplock, Hewie, right? Hewie?
Yep. Short for Hewitt.
Right. We have a busy week, eh?
Oh, this past week I've been buying my toys just over. I'm overdoing it. I joined the watch group now, and
Never
I
wear a
now have a
watch. You never wear a
Galaxy.
watch.
I have now a Galaxy 4 watch because I bought a new phone and it's too big to wear on my wrist.
Oh,
I bought the Galaxy S22 Ultra. That thing is huge.
right. Right.
And so I've been watching videos for both of those over the last 2 weeks. YouTube is a great place to learn all of the settings on whatever device you buy. I've just been watching video after video, and with my phone there, stopping and starting the video and going in and changing settings and so on. It's been a lot of fun.
Now we also have learning. Excuse me. We also have learning Chromebooks this week. Eh?
Yep, yeah, and there's some new things in that. So I'm working on a presentation for that, and the first reminder will go out today, and there'll be another one on Wednesday.
Just so everyone remembers, if you have signed up before, you don't have to re-sign up. But if you are new, you want to learn more about Chromebooks, you want to come to our session on Thursday, it's free, but you do have to sign up. We need to know your email address and we'll send you the link. So if you just go over to our website, www.techforsenior.com, the sign-up's right there. There's a sign up in the newsletter. So you can just sign up, and we'll be doing that on Thursday morning right after Tech for Senior Live.
And I was at where they had a home show, and my provider for my internet was there, and they're now advertising 2 gigabit service. So I did talk to them about it, but it was a little more pricey than I wanted.
Don't you do that. Don't you get too don't you do that. All right.
But like you, I think some of the equipment is going to, even if you get 1.5 or 2 gigabit service, I think you're going to be limited to 1 gigabit.
We'll see. We've talked about that before. Bob, go ahead. How the heck are you doing?
I'm fine. Just listening to you guys trying to outdo what I have. My 40 down and 6 up.
I'm hoping they're going to get that darn tower built pretty
If they put that tower up, we'll see what Comcast can do for me. And if they can't, Verizon certainly will.
All right. And then, of course, Dewey's doing his big talk today on electric cars, and he's going to enlighten me on the difference between Polestar and Rivian, because apparently I don't know the difference, right?
Well, you had a little trouble with that. Whoops. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry I had my camera off, didn't realize it. Well, anyway, yes, we did this wonderful test drive out in these parts of Colorado where we were 2.5 weeks ago, and it was on roads like you see behind me. This is just south of Boulder.
Yeah, I'm looking for. Hewie has a nice talk on that today, so we'll be anxiously waiting. And Hewie, I'm all ears to learn. All right, thanks. And Ray.
Hey, Ron, before you mentioned that seniors don't like change.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't 100% agree with that. I think everybody likes change as long as it happens to somebody else.
True. That's true. That's true. And Bill, James, you're sitting there with a big smile on your face. It looks like you've just made a cup of coffee with that fancy schmancy coffee maker you've got.
Well, I went to start it and I thought, oh, I got to get back to my to the show. So I'm waiting for my coffee. But
will it deliver it to you? Will it deliver it to you?
Pardon?
Will it deliver it?
That hasn't happened yet. But I like change. I think it's important for us to embrace change because it keeps us young.
It does. It does.
You always have a challenge before you, and I think you really benefit from it. I mean, change is hard and it's awkward at times, but then again, you always come out ahead because you, as Chris says, you always want to learn something. Exactly. I totally agree with her.
Okay. And Bob's probably saying, Ron, would you be quiet? I want to get on with the show and get my security, section going here, right, Bob?
I want to see whether or not
you can mute me.
Something yesterday. So let's see what happens.
All right, good. Take it away, Bob.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending April 22nd, 2022. Jekyll Bot. 5 vulnerabilities threaten hospital robots. Researchers at healthcare IoT security firm Scenario discovered a collection of 5 vulnerabilities impacting TUG autonomous mobile robots, collectively named Jekyll Bot 5, that could be exploited by remote attackers and hack the devices. The issue involved 3 exposed communications interfaces, 1 exposed web-based API, and 1 exposed WebSocket interface. If hackers were to exploit these vulnerabilities, they could assume full control of the robots, which are deployed and haul food, medication, lab specimens, and other supplies across facilities. Healthcare organizations, and in particular hospitals, have been one of the preferred victims of ransomware attacks during the last few years, commented Avast security evangelist Louis Carones. One of the reasons for this is that they use a lot of different equipment, which makes the attack surface much larger than in other sectors. These new vulnerabilities show, in fact, that there is a need for more security audits to close those holes that make hospitals vulnerable to cyber attack. For more on this story, see CSO Online. Video conference app mute buttons may not really be muting. A new study conducted by researchers at University of Wisconsin-Madison and Loyola University in Chicago found that the mute button on popular video conferencing apps does not prevent audio from being transmitted to the app's servers. Apps tested included Zoom, Slack, MS Teams, Skype, Google Meet, Cisco WebEx, and Discord. All apps continued to occasionally collect audio data, no matter the mute button status, except for those web clients that use the browser software mute feature. Zoom was found to actively track if the user is talking, even while they are in mute mode. For more on this story, see Bleeping Computer. So what can you do? First, read the privacy policy to understand better how your data is managed and what risks are involved in using a particular software product. Secondly, if your microphone is connected to your computer via a USB or jack cable, you may as well unplug it when muted. Thirdly, you can use the operating system's audio control settings to mute your microphone's input channel so that any apps will receive 0 volume audio. Attackers use Flash Loan to steal $182 million. Earlier this week, a decentralized finance project called Beanstalk Farms, which puts out the cryptocurrency token known as the Bean, was targeted by an attacker who drained the project of $182 million in less than 13 seconds. The attacker first took out a flash loan from another entity, then used the money to buy 67% governance in Beanstalk Farms. Then, processing the majority share, the attacker was able to approve a transfer of $182 million in cryptocurrency to their own wallet. Experts believe that after paying back the flash loan, the attacker walked away with around $80 million in profit. For more, see The Verge. Over 100 Lenovo models vulnerable to malicious firmware. Lenovo has released patches for over 100 laptop models to fix 3 critical vulnerabilities that would make it possible for hackers to install malicious firmware. The flaw given hackers the ability to modify a computer's Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, UEFI, software that resides in a flash chip on the motherboard and acts as a bridge between the firmware and the operating system. To execute the steps necessary to exploit these vulnerabilities, however, attackers need to have local access to the laptops. About 1 million laptops are at risk. To learn more, see Ars Technica. 2021 set a record high for zero-day exploits. According to Google Project Zero, 2021 was a record-breaking year for zero-day exploits. Researchers in the group say they tracked 58 cases of zero-day exploits in the wild through the year. The previous maximum had been 28, which was from 2015. According to one researchers, the increased number is likely due to the increased detection and disclosure of zero-day exploits, rather than the increased usage of them. Zero-day exploits are instances where attackers target a newly discovered vulnerability that the developers have had 0 days to patch. See Cyberscoop for more. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Tech support scammers specifically target older people because they believe them to be more trusting, hope they might have memory problems, and they tend to be more financially secure than younger people. Here's what you and your older loved ones should know to stay safe. Read the article at the link listed or watch my video on this topic at the following link. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and get involved.
$182 million in 13 seconds. That's a heck of a job, Bob.
I want to try that next week and see how well I do trying it.
Yeah, I could maybe do 2 seconds. I mean, I don't even have to work 13 seconds. Anyway.
Pretty good pay, Pat. Pretty good pay for an hour's. Oh, an hour's? No, the seconds work.
Yeah, seconds work would just be fine. Well done, Bob. Good stuff. We'll see you. We'll be hearing your second part in just a second. All right, let's find out about electric cars. Let's see what Dewey has to say.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic today is electrical vehicles and our Polestar 2 test drive. When I ended last week's Tech Talk, I said that this week I'd be talking about electric vehicles. I intended to begin today by telling you about the big New York International Auto Show, which ended yesterday, April 24th. After a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic, the show returned on April 15 for a 10-day run. The hype, especially about the display of EVs from all over the world, was humongous. I was pretty excited about the show until I read a revealing article at driving.ca Auto News, which let it be known that only a relatively small fraction of the world's car makers displayed their vehicles at the show this year. I guess they decided that manufacturers would rather spend their money on displays of just their vehicles in big introductions. So I'm going to change gears, and I'll start with breaking news about the latest electric vehicles. One of the most prolific writers on EVs is Corey Gunther at ReviewGeek.com. In an article titled Chevy Bolt Production Resumes After Long Fire Safety Recall, Gunther said that GM finally restarted production of the Chevy Bolt EUV, an electric utility vehicle, in the first week of April. Production of the Chevy Bolt is expected to continue at GM's Orion assembly plant in Michigan until sometime in 2023, when production will be shifted to the 2024 Silverado EV and GMC Sierra EV pickup trucks. It's worth noting that some GM dealers likely have several new Bolt EV or EUV models on their lot that GM prevented them from selling until they were retrofitted with the new battery system from LG Chem. Now that production is underway and GM's stop sale order is expiring, those interested in an affordable EV with a brand new battery might consider a newer used Bolt EV. And I'll tell you, they are a very good deal. Or Corey Gunther feels buyers may want to wait for the new 2024 Chevy Equinox electric vehicle, which is more attractive than the Bolt, he says. Well, there's a photo of it. I wish I should have put in a photo for comparison with the Bolt, but they're both good-looking cars. NationWorldNews.com recently reported that U.S. EV auto sales shined in Q1 of 2022 and could be heralding the arrival of a battery electric vehicle era sooner than expected. In fact, the only brands to post sales gains in Q1 were all electric. Tesla and Polestar reported a particularly sharp increase in first quarter sales in the U.S. compared to the same period last year. Also, Hyundai posted particularly solid results, selling 6,244 Ioniq 5 EVs, and Kia sold 5,281 units of its new EV6 model. U.S. sales of Tesla rose 87.2% to nearly 130,000 units compared to the same quarter last year, and Tesla's global sales broke a new record as well. Polestar sales grew by nearly 1,200% during the first quarter due to the arrival of the Polestar 2 luxury sedan, that's the one we drove, which is a Tesla 3 LR competitor, price-wise and otherwise. Even though EV volume sales are still low, the overall trend indicates a drastic change in consumer demand. For what it's worth, according to Autodata, Lucid and Rivian delivered 460 and 720 EVs respectively during 2022's first quarter. I guess they've got quite a ways to go, don't they? The nameplate Polestar isn't yet well known in the US. It was established in 1996 by Swedish automaker Volvo's partner, Flash Polestar Racing, and it was acquired by Volvo in 2015. By the way, Volvo had already been acquired by Chinese automaker Geely back in 2010. They're designed in Sweden, but made in China. Polestar's headquarters are near Gothenburg, Sweden, and vehicle production is done in China. Polestar's logo is shown at the right. I had mentioned recently that Joanne and I drove a Polestar 2 EV when we visited our son Steve and his wife Sue's home in Superior, Colorado 2.5 weeks ago. Superior is just south of Boulder, and that's all north of, about 25 miles north of Denver. Steve has a Polestar 2 on order and was comfortable in asking the local Polestar rep to bring one by their house for both Joanne and me to test drive. And there's the car when it pulled in. The very pleasant rep took time to introduce us to the Polestar 2. The car was very well equipped with all three of Polestar's optional packages. A, the performance package, $5,000. B, the plus package, $4,000. And C, the pilot package, $3,200. This brought the sticker price just over $62,000. Still competitive with Tesla. The performance pack is tuned for Polestar 2's long-range dual motor, has specialized handling upgrades, premium brakes, 20-inch forged alloy wheels, Swedish gold seat belts, and they were something else, and dual flow valve dampers with 22 suspension settings. I guess that's enough, isn't it? The $4,000 Plus pack provides a premium comfort level, which includes a Harman Kardon premium sound system, a full-length panoramic glass roof, which you can see at the lower left in the upper part of the picture. It has leather galore, beautiful leather. It has heated steering wheel and heated seats, a heat pump climate system, and other features that, in Volvo's words, elevate the driving experience. The $3,200 Pilot Pack focuses on smarter and safer driving. It includes Pilot Assist, which supplements adaptive cruise control, and it has cameras and radar that control speed and helps maintain car position in the driving lane, LED front fog lights with cornering function, automatically dim door mirrors, and a 360-degree camera system that allows the driver to see a bird's eye view of the Polestar 2's surroundings. To achieve this, 4 cameras provide a 360-degree view around a virtual image of the car, helping the driver to maneuver in tight spaces. Now, the photograph at lower right gives you something of an idea, but it's really not very good. I had to do a quick turnaround in a very tight parking lot, and the rep reached over and tapped something, and all of a sudden I'm looking at this screen and I'm seeing my car from 30 feet above. Cannot believe how that was achieved. It was astonishing. And it was very easy watching that screen to move around and turn around and get out of the parking lot. The Polestar 2 has two driving modes. First, a standard accelerator and brake pedals, or a single pedal mode in which foot down accelerates and heel down activates braking, including regenerative engine braking. We both chose the single pedal mode for our test drives. Joanne and I both had 20-minute test drives and were surprised at how quickly we adapted to the single pedal mode. The heel down engine braking was absolutely amazing, and we both felt quite comfortable with the Polestar 2 by the time our test drives had finished. And that photo at the lower right is my sweetie Joanne piloting the Polestar 2 down this road. Finally, during this visit to our son and daughter-in-law's house, they were eager to point out that an owl had nested in a recess on an upper ledge of a neighbor's house, perhaps 150 feet away. I grabbed my Samsung S21 and zoomed in to get the best shot I could of this stoic owl, and I probably didn't do a good job because the camera can do better than that. A few days ago, they sent me an updated photo of the owl, and they took with the Samsung S21. It's now a mama owl with her two young fledges. Aren't they the cutest things? Well, anyway, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with this one because I really enjoyed doing it, and I had such fun on that Polestar 2 test drive. Please stay safe. Thanks for watching, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you again next week.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Learned a lot. That's great. Bob, you're ready to roll?
Tech support scammers target older people because they believe them to be more trusting, and they tend to be more financially secure than younger people. When Phyllis Weisberg, 90, received a phone call claiming that there was an issue with her computer, she knew she had to do something right away. The person on the other end told her that they could help her, but it would be for a fee. Phyllis, a widow, trusted the young person on the other end of the line, and she went right to her bank to arrange a wire. They warned me not to discuss the issue on the telephone with anyone because these bad guys could hear all my conversations, Phyllis says. They sent me an address and asked me to send a wire with money. I went to the branch closer to home. A very young fellow asked me the questions the scammers told me he would ask, and I responded in the way they asked me to. I had all the answers programmed for me. Unfortunately, the people calling were not there to help. They were thieves conducting a tech support scam, which is when a scammer calls, messages, emails, or uses pop-ups to convince someone that there's an issue with their device. Through the wire and other tactics, they gained access to Phyllis's bank account and stole $20,000. The scammers used high-pressure scare tactics to gain remote access to victims' computers, or, as was the case with Phyllis, to get them to send large amounts of cash. They usually pose as someone from a recognized, reputable organization, like a bank, hospital, or software company. We've even had reports of scammers posing as Avast in order to create an immediate layer of trust with potential victims. My first reaction was total embarrassment that I would do anything that stupid, Phyllis says. It took me quite a while to realize I wasn't the only one who was being taken advantage of. All I can do now is warn others and just hope that this will at least help one other person avoid going through this. And Phyllis is not alone. A 2021 survey conducted by Avast in partnership with YouGov found that 82% of people over the age of 65 in the U.S. have received a phone call from someone who was trying to scam them. We also observed a 251% increase in consumer attacks from January 2021 to December of the same year. And according to the FBI, 66% of the victims of tech support scams in 2020 were over 60 years of age, and the total loss of money amounted to over $116 million. Tech support scammers specifically target older people because they believe them to be more trusting, hope they might have memory problems, and they tend to be more financially secure than younger people. They are professionals whose entire job is scamming and stealing money from people like Phyllis. Luckily, there are ways to protect yourself and your loved ones against this kind of scam, and you've already taken the first step by reading this. You should also know that no legitimate tech support will ever contact you without you contacting them first. If someone does, hang up immediately and call someone you trust right away. People Phyllis's and my age need to unlearn what we were taught as children. It's no longer safe to trust everyone that sounds genuine and believable. Trust but verify must become our new motto. If you've already given them, the scammers, access to your devices or your bank account, call your financial institution immediately. Let them know what happened and see if it's possible to block any outgoing payments or wires. Then call a legitimate company to make sure that your device doesn't have any viruses or lingering software placed there by the scammers. The best way to ensure that a company is legitimate is to get contact information from someone in your life that you trust, or to navigate to a website on your own. Do not call any number or click any links sent to you by someone you don't know, even if you recognize the name of the organization they claim to be from. Again, trust but verify. Read Emma McGowan's excellent article by following the link below. Avast has teamed up with the National Council on Aging in order to help you protect yourself and your loved ones from tech support and other scams. Head over to their Avoiding Scams for Older Adults page and watch the video linked below for more information. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bob. Good advice. Good advice. All right, let's moving on. Hewie, I have a video for you. I'm going to play now, and it's about your new watch. You can watch this, okay? As you get older, it is important to monitor your pulse. The incidence of cardiac pacemaker insertion goes up exponentially with age. Let's have a look at the graph. As you can see in the graph, at age 60, the line goes up exponentially. So by the time you are 80, the chances are pretty darn good you probably are going to need a cardiac pacemaker. Now, while a cardiac pacemaker is required for a slow heartbeat, a rapid heartbeat can be atrial fibrillation. Let's look at the incidence of atrial fibrillation. If you are over the age of 60, the chances of atrial fibrillation is going to go up exponentially. The same as a slow heartbeat, a fast heartbeat is the same problem. One of the major causes of a fast heartbeat is atrial fibrillation and it is the 5th leading cause of stroke. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. I am a senior and a retired physician. I make videos about your health. Today I want to talk about stroke prevention using a smartwatch. Let's have a look at this, but before we do, you remember the like and subscribe. If you want to be kept up to date on future videos about your health, just click the subscribe button at the bottom and then turn on the notification. If you do that, we'll notify you when new videos come out. So for full disclosure, I purchased a Fitbit Sense watch and a Galaxy Watch 4 with my hard-earned retired money. The opinions in this video are mine alone and not supported by any commercial product. I've made over 10 videos about smartwatches and your health, including a very popular series, Saving Your Life with Wearable Technology. I will put the link to those videos in the description below, so if you want to watch them, just click the link. And remember, if you want to be notified, click the subscribe and notification buttons. Now, the symptoms of atrial fibrillation can be a bit of a fluttering in your chest or some palpitations, but also you may be asymptomatic. What do we mean by that? Well, you don't know you have it. And that is one of the big problems with atrial fibrillation and stroke, is that oftentimes when you come in with a stroke, you don't know you've had atrial fibrillation. Now, all the watches work exactly the same way. You require a watch, you require a phone, and the two have to be paired together. When you start to feel symptoms, then you are going to activate a feature on the watch called the ECG app. Now, this app works exactly the same on all 3 watches. You will activate it. It will then do what we call an ECG, which is a heart test. Now, the secret sauce is that the watch will actually interpret the ECG and tell you if you have atrial fibrillation. It does not tell you if you're having a heart attack. It does not tell you if your heart is healthy. The only purpose of the ECG app is to tell you if you have atrial fibrillation or you do not. All 3 watches work exactly the same way and have been approved for this by the FDA in the United States. So the 3 watches that have been approved by the FDA to detect atrial fibrillation are the Apple Watch, the Fitbit Sense, and the Galaxy Watch 4. I own the Fitbit Sense and the Galaxy Watch 4. Now, I've told you in the previous slide that they work exactly the same way. You have symptoms of atrial fibrillation, you activate the ECG app, and it says you do or do not have atrial fibrillation. So although they work exactly the same way, there are some unique features with each watch, which I am going to explain now. So the ECG app on the Apple Watch has been available since Series 4. Series 4 to 7 has the ECG app and atrial fibrillation detection. Now, the ECG app has been approved by the FDA in the United States and by Health Canada. As you know, the Apple Watch is sold globally. Apple does a very good job of getting the ECG app approved in each country it's licensed to use this in. Good job, Apple. Now, unlike the Apple Watch, which must be paired to an iPhone for it to work, it only works on the Apple system, the Fitbit Sense can be used either on Android or iOS. So if you do have an iPhone, you can use a Fitbit Sense with it, and the ECG feature will work. So it works on both the Android and iOS. Now, the ECG app has been approved in Canada and the United States, so you're able to do atrial fibrillation detection. As you know, this watch is sold globally, and generally there's been slow approval processes in getting this ECG app up and going. You'll find large markets like India, where it was sold into, still don't have this app approved and working. Now, I'm going to tell you about a new feature that's coming, so stay tuned to the end of the video. The Galaxy Watch 4, of course, is made by Samsung. Most of the non-cardiac features will work with all Android phones. However, the ECG app, which also includes blood pressure, will only work with Samsung phones. The ECG app was approved about 3 months after the Samsung Galaxy 4 watch was introduced in the United States, but it took 8 months before it was finally approved in Canada. There is definitely a slow approval of this ECG app as this watch is sold globally. Now, the ECG app requires regulatory approval in each country. In other words, the manufacturers of these devices have to submit data to the regulatory bodies, and they have to approve the information. And this is to make sure that these devices actually do what they claim to be able to do. Now, in the United States, the FDA has approved the Apple Watch, the Fitbit Sense, and the Galaxy 4 watch to be able to diagnose atrial fibrillation. These have been approved as level 2 medical devices, such as an ECG in a hospital. So you know if you purchase them, yes, they are going to work. But these watches are sold globally. So each country has the regulatory approval, and they must be approved in each country before the app is turned on. So it is so important, if you are considering purchasing this watch, that you make sure the app is available in the country that you're going to be using it in. Now, in my case, I bought a Fitbit Sense watch when it first came out. It wasn't until a year later that Health Canada actually approved the app. And with the Galaxy Watch 4 I purchased, it was 8 months before the approval process was completed in Canada. In fact, it was just last week. So if you have a Galaxy Watch 4, you are in Canada, yes, the app has been approved now, and you can use the ECG and blood pressure app on your Galaxy Watch 4 in Canada. A concern I have is that Google and Samsung are very slow in getting the approval process done. And in my case, I was a registered owner of both these watches, and I never got a notification or email when the approval process was done in Canada. I get lots of marketing wanting to sell me other stuff, but I never got an email saying that there was an approval process done. There's no place to get information. You can't go to their website. They don't have any pages that say, yes, these are the countries it's being approved on. This is the status. This is how long we're waiting. Nope, nothing like that at all. And the only way that you really have been able to get information about this is in the community forums on those sites. So please be cautious about this, because if the ECG app is not approved, it may be a very long time, even though the watch is sold in that country. So I've told you all these 3 watches work exactly the same. You develop some palpitations or a fluttering in your chest. You then do the ECG on your watch. Then it identifies whether you have or have not got atrial fibrillation. The problem is that many patients don't know they have atrial fibrillation, so they would never activate the ECG feature. The big news that has occurred in this past month is that Fitbit now has been approved by the FDA to passively monitor your heart. And this is not just probably going to be on the Fitbit Sense, but many of the Fitbit product line. This is an app that will work 24/7, your heartbeat, and tell you if you have, but other potentially serious, what we call arrhythmias of your heart. This is indeed exciting news, and I'm going to have a lot more to say about this when the app is released. So lots of interesting news. We have a new app coming out from Fitbit, and also a new Pixel watch coming out, which may have some new health features as well. If you are concerned about your health and want to learn more about how upcoming technology can help you, then click the subscribe and notification below, and we'll let you know as new videos come out. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Have a great day. All right, Hewie,
Yes, and I'm having fun with my Galaxy 4 trying to figure it all out. So
There you
it's
go. Get the
a challenge.
ECG app going.
Yeah. Browser cookies. I'm Hewie Poplock. Cookies. As an avid internet surfer, you've most likely heard of cookies. No, we're not talking about the ones filled with chocolate chips. We're talking about the ones that allow you to log into your favorite websites. Cookies may impact your online security, so check out these tips to manage them and keep your online accounts safe. What are cookies in browsers? Ever wonder how a website saves the items you placed in your shopping cart last week, even though you closed the tab before making the purchase? This is made possible by cookies. According to the Federal Trade Commission, a cookie is information saved by your web browser. When you visit a website, the site may place a cookie on your web browser so it can recognize your device in the future. If you return to that site later, it can read that cookie to remember you from your last visit, keeping track of your activities over time. Cookies come in either the first-party or third-party variety. There's no difference between the two in how they function, but rather in where and how you encountered them. First-party cookies belong to sites you visited firsthand in your browser. Third-party cookies, or tracking cookies, generally come from third-party advertising websites. Although cookies generally function the same, there are technically two different types of cookies. Magic cookies refer to packets of information that are sent and received without changes. Historically, this would be used to log into a computer database system, such as an internal business network. This concept predates the modern cookie we use today. HTTP cookies are a repurposed version of the magic cookie, built for internet browsing and managing online experiences. HTTP cookies help web developers give you more personalized, convenient website experiences. They allow sites to remember you, your website logins, and shopping carts, so you can pick back up where you left off from your last visit. However, cyber criminals can manipulate HTTP cookies to spy on your online activity and steal your personal information. Cookie hijacking, also known as session hijacking, is typically initiated when a cyber criminal sends you a fake login page. If you click on the fake link, the thief can steal the cookie and capture anything you type while on the fraudulent website. Like a phishing attack, cookie hijacking allows a cyber criminal to steal personal information like usernames, passwords, and other important data held within the cookie. If you enter your information while on the fake website, the criminal can then put that cookie in their browser and impersonate you online. They may even change your credentials, locking you out of your account. Sometimes criminals initiate cookie hijacking attacks without a fake link. If you're browsing on an unsecured public Wi-Fi connection, hackers can easily steal your data that's traveling through the connection. This can happen even if the site is secure and your username and password are encrypted. Because the data in cookies doesn't change, cookies themselves aren't harmful. They can't infect computers with viruses or malware. But if your cookies are hijacked as part of a cyber attack, a criminal could gain access to your browsing history and use cookies as the key to enter your locked accounts. For example, a hacker may steal your identity or confidential company information, purchase items in your online shopping carts, or loot your bank account. Preventing cookie hijacking attacks can allow you to browse the internet with greater peace of mind. Follow these tips to not only safeguard your personal information, but to also enhance your browsing experience. Make it a habit to clear your cookie cache regularly to prevent cookie overload, which could slow your search speeds. Also, almost every browser has the option to enable or disable cookies on your computer. So if you don't want them at all, your browser support section can walk you through on how to disable them. Although it's convenient to not have to retype your credentials into a website you frequently visit, autofill features could make it easier for a criminal to extract your data with cookie hijacking. Plus, autofill is risky if your physical device falls into the wrong hands. To browse more securely without having constantly re-enter your passwords, use a password manager. Strong, unique passwords for each of your accounts, updated regularly, offer ample protection against hackers. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA, adds yet another layer of security by double-checking your identity beyond your username and password, usually with a texted or email code. When your account offers MFA, always opt in. Criminals can hijack your cookies if you're browsing on an unsecured public Wi-Fi connection. To prevent a criminal from swiping your data, use a virtual private network, or VPN, a service that protects your data and privacy online. A VPN creates an encrypted tunnel that makes you anonymous by masking your IP address while connecting to public Wi-Fi hotspots. This is a great way to shield your information from online spies while you're banking, shopping, or handling any kind of sensitive information online. Use antivirus software, allowing you to keep your online passwords, which are often stored in cookies, in one secure location. Warning you of suspicious links, keeping potentially harmful cookies off your device, protecting you against viruses and malware, and blocking spam and emails that could lead to sites containing dangerous cookies. Let's look at some of my cookies. First, we have to find them. In order to do that on my Windows machine, first you click the three dots or parallel bars menu button. 2, choose the Settings option. Scroll down to Privacy and Security section. Click on Cookies and Other Site Data, then followed by See All Cookies and Site Data. You will be shown a list of all websites which have stored cookies on your computer. I don't clear out my cookies very often. In fact, I have over 4,200 listed when I did this. But you go to Privacy and Security and then All Cookies and Site Data. Notice where my scroll bar is at the top. We scroll down and we're still only a small way down. Notice there are different items listed in my cookies. There's a cookie, there's cache storage, service workers, file system, local storage, database storage, local service, and service workers. So there's different types of cookies that are stored on your system. Let's take a look at one of the items in my cookies. Let's look at northerntool.com. It's showing 25 cookies there. And when I click on that, it'll list several of them. Obviously, not all of them are on the screen here, but as I click on one of them, this is the information I get. I did gray out a portion because I am not sure what that content would be if someone tried to copy it and do something with it. So I did cover up some of it. But you'll notice some of the information that it stores in my cookie for that particular item. Let's take another one. Online.inpixio.com. It's local storage. When I look at it, it doesn't have nearly the amount of information. It just has the local storage, the origin, where it came from, the size on my disk, and then when it was last modified. And then finally, one of the things that you need to do to protect yourself is keep your operating system and browser updated. Browser cookies. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Interesting information. Ray, just before we get going with your segment, I want to just thank everyone for coming over on our YouTube feed. We're going to be ending that now. If you want to come over, we have lots of room in our in the show. If you want to come over and participate in the Q&A, if you have to leave, then we'll see you next week, same time, same place. All right, Ray, take it away.
Okay, here we go. I don't know if anybody knew it, but 2 days ago on Saturday, Record Store Day had celebrated its 15th anniversary. And they was able to show and boast new vinyl exclusives from some of today's major music stars. Now, this is a day each year, each April actually, each year, in independent record stores around the world, US and Canada included, encourage visits to their brick and mortar locations. There are still brick and mortar record store locations. Imagine you can still flip through album by album on the store shelves like the good old days. Now, a quick Google search will tell you if a participating store is near where you live, and you can take a trip down memory lane by visiting them. Superstar Taylor Swift was this year's Record Store Day Global Ambassador and is quoted as saying, "Watching vinyl sales grow in the past few years has been a true joy for me. She should know, as her release of Red, Taylor's version, including the LP, has sold over 369,000 copies so far." Now, no matter what your age or your musical taste, unless you're living under a rock, everyone knows of 32-year-old Taylor Swift. I have one good friend who's been to several of her concerts with his young adult daughter, and he's in his 70s. Her debut studio album was released in 2006 with country music as her preferred genre. But within a few years, she made the transition to a more pop-oriented style. Since then, she has accumulated 34 American Music Awards, the most of any artist, as well as 25 Billboard Music Awards, the most for any woman. In 2014, she took a stand against music streaming by removing her entire catalog from Spotify, as she did not agree with the company's ad-supported free service that provided less royalties to songwriters. She also had a similar issue very briefly with Apple Music. But in 2017, she relinquished and added back her entire catalog to Spotify, Apple Music, and the other digital streaming services. Taylor Swift is passionate about owning her own music. But when she was 15 years old, back in 2005, the contract she signed conveyed the ownership rights for her first 6 albums to her record label. In 2019, the label sold these rights, thus denying her from reacquiring her own music, which she had been attempting to do for years. In what some consider a brilliant move, Taylor has begun to re-record those albums as close as possible to the original, but with improved sound technology. You can tell the difference between the old and the new, as the latter ones have Taylor's version added to the title. There's one aspect I love to see in celebrities, be they entertainment stars or athletes, and that is to be a role model for their young fans. Taylor Swift certainly is. Taylor Swift.
Well done, Ray. Great. Well done. How old is Taylor now? Do you know?
32.
32. Wow, just great. Oh, amazing. Well, another show. Wow, it's top of the hour. We'll move into the question and answer, but if you have to leave, we will be back the same time, same place next week. Also, of course, this is recorded. You can, I'll have it up on our channel, Tech for Senior channel on YouTube later on today. So if you want to come back and look at any of the videos, plus Hewie and I and Bob all have the respective videos on our specific site. So you can come back and listen to them. There's a lot of information in here. I'm sure you'll want to come back and listen to some of the topics. We're going to open it up now in the question and answer. But before I do, just remember that at 1:30, we have our premiere service that's starting. It's free. You just I've put the link in the newsletter and also the links in the chat. Today, Dewey's going to talk on printers for hot weather. Hewie, Hewie, right? Hewie is going to talk on the Windows 10 tips and tricks, part 2. and I'm going to talk on the not the new Kindle Fire because it's been out for a year now, but it's interesting. They're bundling it with Office 365, and I'll tell you all about that as well. So we're going to open it up for comments, questions. As you know, at the bottom, you have a reactions button. Hit that, raise your hand. That pops you up to the top so we can see where you are, because there's a lot of screens, a lot of people here, and I can't see all the screens. So if you just click that raise your hand button, it pops you up like Hewie's done there. He's got his hand up. He's going to comment or ask a question. So do that, and then we will we'll have our question and answer for about 20 minutes, and then we'll give you a bit of a rest before the premiere service starts. Hewie, what do you have to enlighten us with?
I just want to say that, I missed the Tech for Senior Live last Thursday because I was at a lunch and we just couldn't, there was too much noise in the restaurant to be able to participate, which is what I was hoping to do. So I listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
What a pleasant experience, and I enjoyed it. And even if you're not watching it, you can understand what's going on. And I think it's an experience that everyone should at least try once and listen to podcasts. When I walk around, I don't listen to music. When I do my walking, I listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning while I'm walking too.
Me too.
It also helps when I'm walking not to pay attention to my walking. So it goes quicker and I don't realize that I've walked as far as I have. So.
Well, with your new watch now, it's going to measure how far you've gone. Right?
Yeah, and I should be able to not have to carry my phone. I'm going to have to try that too.
Yeah, cool. Oh. Yeah, cool. That's good. Yes, and we expect a lot more. Lots of cool stuff about that phone. You can certainly, with the watch and the phone paired together, we expect greatness.
Yeah, I've joined the Samsung family, I'm afraid.
All right, very good. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I was kind of curious if you had any opinion on the watches for swimming.
Yeah, no problem. In fact, I can't remember specifically. I'd have to go back and look at the specs, but I these are mostly waterproof, and I think they're okay for swimming. I can't, but I don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and look. But that's a common question, and I think that they're waterproof. I think it's fine for swimming. I know Jim Gould just bought one for diving. I mean, it's a diving watch that and he takes it down quite a ways underwater. So but I'd have to look at, but it's easy to because that's a common problem in sports, right? You want to swim with a watch on, and some of them even do laps. They have lap counters and all that sort of stuff in them. So
you do have to wear it when you're swimming. It will not swim by itself.
Yeah. Right, indeed. So I think Bill, just have a look at that. I'm sure the answer's there, but I'm pretty sure they're waterproof. Go ahead, Jim.
This last week, I saw some ads regarding the Tesla autonomous vehicles,
mm-hmm.
and they were all showing that the Tesla autonomous part was really dangerous. The end result was they were asking people to write Congress to ban that autonomous feature because it showed all the mistakes that an autonomous car, like specifically the Tesla, would have, such as losing control, heading toward a truck, not recognizing a detour sign, things like that. I was wondering if any of you guys have heard anything about that.
I haven't heard about any accidents.
Well, so all of this is, Jim, all of this is scrutinized very carefully by not only Tesla, but the National Transportation Service. And not only that, but all your driving habits and everything is all recorded right down to the, exactly what happens. And any Tesla crashes, of course, are investigated. The latest crash that was that Leo Laporte talked about last week was a Tesla did go around a corner, but there was nobody in the front two seats. The guy was in the back, smooching it up with his girlfriend, and the car was driving by itself, right? So, it's when I went out and did one of my friends has not a Tesla, but has an autonomous driving car. As soon as I took my hands off the steering wheel, the car, said, "Hey, you got to keep your hands on there. You can't do that," and it would turn off. So, I guess it depends. You still are supposed to be in control of that vehicle. You can't just get into the back seat and forget about it. So I guess people have varying degrees of smartness. I mean, they're not too bright. Still get to have some pretty intelligent cars. So I guess I don't know how we're going to legislate against that. Although, it is whether you keep your hands on it. I think GM has a system now where it follows your eyes, and if your eyes actually don't look at aren't looking and keeping in contact with the road, it turns off as well. So there's lots of things being built in there that makes you sit in that car and still keep in control.
If they would scrutinize each of us the way we drive as much as they are without us driving it, probably most of us wouldn't be driving either.
Right.
Well, I remember I used to work in traffic court, and one of the judges' opinion was if they simply eliminated left-hand turns, they would eliminate 80% of accidents.
Indeed.
If they eliminated cell phones, they'd also eliminate a whole lot of accidents.
Well, eliminate driving.
To happen.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep. Ray, comment, question?
I have a question for Dewey. When he was doing the test drive on that electric vehicle car, how difficult was it to get used to just having one pedal for both acceleration and braking?
Well, I'll tell you, I was absolutely amazed at how quickly I adapted. It just came naturally to me. Joanne felt the same way. I was absolutely amazed.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think I could adapt that quickly. I'd be tapping the floor, looking for the brake.
When I ride with somebody, I'm pushing on the brake.
Yeah. But Dewey, is it if even with the 1 foot accelerator and decelerator, you could still hit the brake and the brake would still work, correct?
I expect it would, but I'll tell you, if you did a hard heel, I think it activates the regular brakes as well as does the engine braking and regenerative brake.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no brake pedal on the car that Dewey was driving.
No, there was a big brake pedal because you can have the other mode and use both an accelerator and brake normally.
Okay.
Carl, the engineer, are you going to enlighten us on all this?
Well, I just noticed the sales, like I mentioned, Ribbon, it was pretty interesting. They sold 700 and a quarter. They got a long way to go, and Dewey made that point. Well, when I was listening to Dewey talking about using a one pedal for accelerating and braking, reminded me of riding around in a go-kart.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, they've done that.
I think it's the same principle.
Yeah, it's electric, but that's part of the electric. The electricity on the wheel, speeds it up or slows it down. It's just a motor on the wheel, right?
The go-kart is a lot less expensive.
Yeah, I know in my car it has, I can take my foot off the accelerator and the brake engages, and you don't have to use the brake pedal.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's just regenerative braking.
Well, this is not. This is just a regular. Has like my car's on electric, but when I take my foot off the accelerator and press the brake, I can take my foot off the brake, and the brake holds until I press the accelerator again. And that takes a little bit using too, but it's kind of easy.
That's interesting.
I do it with my Corvette all the time. You got a paddle shifting, and I use it to brake all the time. It's not regenerative or anything, but it just saves braking. I don't have to hit the brake pedal.
Go. Well, I'm interesting. Does anyone
Oh,
has a hybrid? Is there anyone here? Just a minute. Is there anyone here that has an electric car? I'm interested. The last time we did the poll, put up your hand if you I won't ask you to talk if you don't want, but does anyone here have an electric car? I don't think, other than Mike Ungerman, who has a hybrid, I don't think anybody here has an electric car. Interesting, eh? So hopefully that will change.
And Marie had her hand up.
Anne Marie, do you have an electric car?
I do. I just got the Mercedes GLC 350e. Yes, and I'm loving it and I'm hating it. No, it's a great car. It's wonderful. It's a learning curve, and it's a plug-in hybrid.
Right.
And I'm still finding out if I can plug it into a fast charge or not, or if I have to plug it overnight all the time. I got different answers from Mercedes and the dealer. It only has about 14 miles on pure electric, and then it gets into both. The car is fantastic. It has a lot of technology on it that you need a degree to understand. I did a lot of YouTube videoing and, studying all this stuff. I think I got it down pat. It's a great car.
Do you live in a home? Do you have a garage? Can you charge it in the garage then?
Yeah. But I needed a new plug.
Yeah, right.
Because my old plug wasn't grounded enough or something, whatever. Right. So I had the electrician come and put a new plug in. I just plug it in, and every time I stop it, I plug it in, and I run around town on electricity only, which is fantastic at $6 a gallon, right?
Yeah.
I laugh every time I go by the gas stations with the long lines.
So good for you. Isn't that great, eh?
So that's my experience.
Yeah. But how long have you had it now?
2 months.
2 months. Did you buy it or lease it?
I bought it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
cool.
buying it, and hopefully I don't need another one for a long time.
There you
That's
go.
my experience.
There you go. Thanks, Emery. That's great. Good news. Now that's great. You'll keep us posted as to how you're doing with it.
Yeah, I love the car. It's a fantastic car.
Yeah, good. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, our son has gone through 3 leases on electric cars and through the years, but now he works from home, so he doesn't even need a car. But he agrees with Anne Marie there that it was great going by gas stations. And when we went to visit him, I got to drive it, and it had a lot more acceleration than a gas car. It was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting times. Bob, go ahead.
I did watched a very interesting YouTube video just last night, and it was a gentleman in the UK who was comparing an electric car versus a regular gas engine car. And this was strictly based on price, nothing else. And it was amazing. After 8 years, you expect that with the price of the electric car versus the price of the standard car, that we should have come out ahead on the gas engine car. But it was no comparison, because there are so many other things that go into play where an electric car has a great advantage price-wise if you spread it out over 8 years. And then if you go another 8 years, forget about it. The only expense, even with having to replace batteries, you still wind up way ahead price-wise. If the only concern is price, and you have the money for the initial investment, and you still plan on being here for at least 8 years, you're better off with an electric car than you are with a gas guzzler.
Thanks,
They
Bob.
have less moving parts also.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's so many, that's the other thing. Braking, we have to change brakes every so often, including rotors, calipers, so on and so forth. In an electric car, because of the way the electric car works, brakes, 200,000 miles from now, you might have to change brakes, but not before then. Many other things are the same way. So I don't
All right.
have one. My wife will never buy one, but we'll see.
Well, and
Thank-
having one for 16 years, if I bought one now, I'd have to get a real big one to be able to handle my casket.
Neil, do you have a 1-second question? Because we're out of time and we have to say goodbye.
Oh, no, I'm just going to say I've driven the hybrid since 2004.
You've driven a hybrid since 2004.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So we've got 3 now. That's great. So we've got 3 people now. That not just Mike. That's great. Thanks, Neil. We'll hopefully chat about that in the future. I want to say goodbye to everyone. It's now 20 minutes past the hour. Thank you so much for coming. It was a great show. Lots of information. If you want to go back and have another look at some of the segments, we'll have it up on our YouTube channel later on today. Thank you so much for coming, and we will see you the same time, same place. We'll be here next Monday. Be sure and drop by and see us on Thursday morning for Tech for Senior Live, where we go over our all the news of the week. And don't forget Learning Chromebooks. That is coming up as well this Thursday. Good time to buy a Chromebook. If you want to learn all about it, come and listen to us on Thursday morning.
Yeah, even if you don't have one yet, and
Yeah.
you're thinking about it, good place to learn about it.
Good place
and
to go.
Find out whether it's going to fit you or not.
Yep. Excellent. All right. Until next week. Bye, guys. See everyone in about a week's time. Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.